What is going on, everybody? Jimmo here again with a very exciting video. If you haven't seen the preview for it already, we're going to be painting this Chrysler 200, and things don't go quite to plan on this one. So I don't talk about this nearly enough, but it happens in the paint booth where you get these jobs that they just go south in a hurry, and it happens. Life is a painter. What can I say? So what happened with this one here is initially I grabbed probably the wrong variant. I guess my color that I started with didn't match quite as well as it should have, and I kind of was at that point. I got there late at night, and I'm thinking, we'll try. I think this one's close enough. We'll blend it out, and we'll be fine. But I realized eventually that color wasn't quite as good as it should have been, and you can see the blend, and you can see the edge where it kind of halo the metallics stand up and reflect differently. So you're going to see, here's my first coat going on. And then once that flashes off, I'm going to put on a second coat. So the next sort of boneheaded thing I did was picked out that SATA 4400 Mini Jet RP. So, this gun had been sitting in my cabinet for months, and I was thinking, I just want to use this gun on something. And it's more of a clear gun than a base gun, but I thought, how bad? I bet it does base pretty well, but I don't think that's really the case. And I should have just used a base gun from the beginning. Once I pulled out my Technigun at the end, you'll see when I finally get this blend proper, it seemed to spray quite a bit better. So, so here we are here, and now you can see that we have a very visible line there, the halo, the dark edge. So what I decided to try before completely bailing on this job was going over it with a wet bed blender first and blending into it while it's still wet, and that'll help that edge kind of transition out a little bit better. So here's the wet bed going on here now, and this is HB055 and Onyx. So I put that in all the areas that I'm going to be blending in, or blending my color into, and you can see I'm running out of blend space. So if my color gets any closer, it's going to throw the color off between the door and the corner, which I absolutely do not want. So here's the last kind of ditch effort to work out my blend, trying not to get all the way to that edge, which, I might have got a little bit of overspray to that edge, which could very well change the color. But hey, we're at that point where I'm just going to try anything, because I don't want to have to wipe all this paint off and start over. So here it is going on. So in the end, I ended up having to wipe it all off and start over, which sucks. But anyway, so I started off with some clear blender right from the beginning, and I used the same color, got a fly in the color at some point, and anyway, I wiped it all off again because it just did not work out one more time. So I ditched that color completely, came up with something else. I found a field formula, sprayed it out, and it looked a lot better, and I started over with it. Now, before I apply the color to the quarter, I'm going to take all of this off-color paint that, is not the color that I'm going to go with in the end, and I'm going to spray it all on this bumper as a ground coat. So it doesn't go completely to waste, and it's only going to take one and a half coats to actually change that color, and I can only really need to apply it at the top of that bumper. That paint did not go to complete waste. So let's get to the part where I start doing this job correct. So I'm going to apply my wet bed blender again, not going to take any chances, which, anytime you have a tough color, you want to make sure you're using this product. Normally, in most situations, I can just blend it out without applying anything first, but, I've had enough. I want to make sure everything just goes problem-free with this color, and I didn't really learn my lesson yet from this gun. So you're going to see I start off using my SATA 4400, which, it was all right, but I thought, you know what, I'm just going to stick with what I know. I'm going to pull out my Technigun that has laid the base down beautifully time and time again to get the second coat on there and blend it out. And then I can go home, because it's getting late, and I just want to get out of here at this point. Well, I wanted to get out of there about probably 3 hours before I started. No, I shouldn't say that. It wasn't that long of a job to do. I think it was about maybe 2.5, 3 hours by the time I ended up screwing around in there. Short normally should take about maybe an hour tops. Yeah. Anyway, turn the blowers on there, and I'm gonna get the second coat on. And on the second coat, I applied the wet bed blender again to blend my base coat into it while it's wet. And it might be a little bit of overkill, but at this point, I just don't want to take any chances. So that's what we went with. Yeah, so yeah, normally it would be overkill, but that's okay. So, when you get jobs like this sometimes too, they start to snowball on you a bit. You start rushing because you're behind the clock now because this job's already taken you twice as long as it should have, and then you start rushing, you make more mistakes. And so the best thing you can really do when anything like this happens is just keep calm and you'll get through it. But, it could have been much, much worse. So, yeah, this isn't too bad. So here comes the easier part, applying the clear coat. And it's funny because when I first started in this trade, I used to think applying clear was the hardest thing to do. And I thought that would always be the biggest challenge for any painter. But once you get used to it and you get the hang of it, it's one of the easiest things. And the more challenging thing is the base coat is mostly picking out the proper variant and your color matching skills, but also different temperatures and whatnot. You have different challenges. But anyway, we're laying it on there with the Iwata WS400. And one thing I should note about that gun too, it's different than the last WS400. I didn't know there was a difference between the Evo and I guess the regular WS400. This one lays the clear down even way better. Somebody told me that the Evo was the better gun, and it instantly made sense because when I used it for the first time on that Charger a few weeks ago, I was just like, wow, I don't remember this gun being this good. So yeah, I guess that's good. I got the better gun, so I'm happy about that. I didn't even know that there was a difference. And so this is actually my second coat going on now after about 5 minutes of flash. And I'm using the Glazeret 923-220 clear, which is one of my favorite clears. It's a nice all-around clear, and you can see I got my new SATA paint suit on there. I still got my Glazeret one, but I like to mix it up a little bit. But I think after this video, I might get a call from the guys at SATA, and they'll just be like, can you not ever wear that suit again or ever spray one of our guns? We do not want to be associated with you in any way, shape, or form. But, that's okay. I'm prepared for that call. So I'm also rocking my new Iwata regulator. You can see on there. It's a bit bulky, but I kind of like it. It's different. It has like a lock in it, so you pull it out a bit, adjust your pressure to where you want it, and you push it in, and it locks that pressure, so you don't accidentally bump it when you're moving around. But the Iwatas are different. I discovered just the fitting. You need a male fitting to go in it, rather than a female fitting that goes on the end of it. So I don't know why they had to be different, but if you're picking up an Iwata, you want to keep that in mind. And I still haven't had a chance yet to spray the SATA 4000 RP. I've held one a few times, but I haven't actually sprayed it yet. And I've talked to my SATA rep about getting one to try out, and he says to hang tight because they have something exciting coming down the pipes. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a new gun or if it's just a special edition 4000, but he said very soon I'm going to have something to try out. So I'm excited about that, and as soon as I know what he's talking about, I'll let you guys know, and hopefully you guys can see whatever it is I'm talking about. Now, unfortunately, I do not have a final shot of this vehicle unmasked and everything. I actually unmasked the door before I left. I looked at the door at a corner and I thought, it looked fine. I thought, I'm going to just film this all tomorrow when everything's put back together, cleaned up. But unfortunately, I never got a chance to get back there on time anyway to get that shot. The car had already been delivered, and I didn't get that. So I'm told the color looked great on the bumper to the quarter on the other side, and they did get a letter from the customer a few days later how happy she was with the vehicle. So I'm assuming things must have been pretty good, but I do like to see these things myself, and I like to be able to show them to you. But unfortunately, I couldn't do that this time, so you'll have to just take my word for it, or walk down to a Chrysler lot and just look at a 200 and imagine it that was the job I painted, unless it was a job that was painted terrible. Well, you know what? You've seen my work, so I guess I can't speak too highly about myself right now. But anyway, hopefully you guys learned a thing or two about some of the challenges in the paint booth and maybe some things not to do. But yeah, so I guess that's going to be it. Leave me your comments. Let me know what you thought. Thanks, and we will see you next time.